Hello and welcome. In this module, we'll be talking about the importance of descriptive and diagnostic HR analytics. In the last two modules, we have gathered some amount of understanding on theoretical aspects of HR analytics and the importance of HR metrics in HR analytics. In this module, we'll try to use a couple of practical exercises in order to gain deeper understanding about the descriptive and diagnostic analytics. But before we move, we should know about the basic definition. Descriptive analytics, as the term says, is a kind of analytics which tends to describe the as is scenario inside the organization or a particular department. Now, descriptive analytics helps HR in using the large historical data to understand the context and the patterns which can be apparently visible from the surface of the data. Similarly, employees and the practitioners are using descriptive analytics to set standards and create benchmark in their various HR processes. For example, a company may use the past data to create the goals or the target for the coming year, or it may be used to do salary benchmarking. Similarly, the other important benefit that practitioners and HR derive out of descriptive analytics is that they get the overall holistic perspective of the problem and the organization. So it is very important for anybody to understand the descriptive analytics before moving on to diagnostic or predictive and prescriptive analytics. Now, the most common examples of descriptive analytics are using the statistical terms like standard tendency and using some graphs and charts and tables and some other functions in order to understand the existing data in a better way. Companies use different softwares, but in this small video, I have some examples by using MS Excel. The most common thing that we do in descriptive analytics is we slice and dice the data, and that can be done very easily using some Excel functions and graphs, for example, to create employee dashboard. Now, company may use Excel to understand the overall picture of the company. Now, by looking at this graph, you can easily make out the departments, the kind of salaries that have been taken, the kind of qualification, and the marital status. Now, this gives you a complete overall picture about the company. Similarly, if you want to know about some sensitive information with respect to an employee or a department, you may use some different graphs and charts. Now, in this small diagram, I've shown two speedometers. One speedometer which is for work-life balance and another is for performance rating. Now, these speedometers can be designed using simple donut chart in another 10 minutes. Considering time constraint, I may not be able to explain you how do we create, but they are so easy and they add a lot of aesthetic value to the data and the presentation. Similarly, using pivot table, we can extract a large number of information and we can put it into a small information which is higher in usefulness. For example, you may be interested in knowing the reasons of sick leave, and you may like to just find out the particular location, the number of leaves taken by the employees, and what is their work-life balance score on a rating of 1 to 5. So now by using simple pivot table, you extract this, and if you can see some pattern, then you can go into diagnostic analytics to see what is the root cause of sick leave. Correct. Now, by looking at this small table, you can make out some sense that higher the leave, lesser is the work-life balance. Now, in this table, 1 means low balance. So, low the work-life balance, higher is the sick leave. So, you can create some what do you call as basic trend from this. But I'm not saying that work-life balance is ultimately responsible or causes the number of sick leaves. Now, similarly, diagnostic analytics helps you to drill down the data and see some of the hidden facts and patterns. It actually helps you to examine the root cause of the problem by using the past data. The outcome may be positive or negative, but it is important for us to understand the root cause of that outcome that can be achieved using diagnostic HR analytics. Or in short form, we can say that diagnostic HR analytics helps you to answer all why questions about the department or the function. Now let us try to understand both kinds of analytics using a simple exercise. Now in this exercise, you are working for a company which is into hiring the employees. The company has hired 41 candidates in the last 1 year using some of the recruitment channels. And the company wants to hire similar number of candidates for this year. Now the information that you have is that the company hired 41 candidates after interviewing 146, and the company has used 12 different recruitment channels. And you are required to evaluate the performance of various recruitment channels and come up with the efficiency and effectiveness recruitment metric. Before moving on to the Excel sheet, we should take a look at what are the questions that we need to answer and how should we approach this problem. So the most important question that we need to answer is number one, which recruitment channel was the most effective in the last year's recruitment drive? Which channel had the lowest cost per employee? So this is the most important efficiency metric for us. Which channel was, or what was the time taken to complete the process by each channel? This will give us some framework about what is the importance of time in the efficiency of the channels. Similarly, you need to recommend which channel would you use for this year, and you also need to ask that if there is a database which is missing, that you need to ask to the employer or the other departments. So let's move on to the data sheet. Now this data sheet, which is looking a big matrix. I think this data sheet has column from A to O and row from 1 to 14. The first column talks about the various recruitment channels. Talks about that there are 12 different recruitment channels, which includes company website, consultant A to G, LinkedIn, Facebook, employer referral, and walk-ins. Second column talks about the database which has been taken from each of these recruitment channel. Third column talks about the number of candidates who specifically applied for the position. The fourth, candidates interviewed by the company. The column E talks about the number of candidates who were finally hired, total cost on each of the channels, and then the time to hire. So initially I was given, or we can be given, this kind of information from column A to column G. Now from this information we need to find out what does it indicate and what else do we need. Now by looking at the column number E and F, sorry, D and E, these two columns are most important because they give you a ratio of the number of candidates who were interviewed and who are hired. This will give you the first ratio. Now this ratio has been calculated by me in column number K, hire versus interview. So this basically says that for employer referral 66% people got converted. That means 2 out of 3. Similarly for walk-ins, what I'm doing is, for my personal ease, the best recruitment channel for each of the metric I'm trying to color that with green color. So for me this is the most efficient and this is the second most efficient. So what I'm doing is I'm highlighting the most efficient with green, second most efficient with light green, and possibly the third most efficient with yellow. I hope this is visible to everybody. So this is my first parameter and I will say quantity. Correct. Now I have similar ratios calculated for the people who applied, and the number we had in the database. So again, if you look at, the highest is 66, which is for LinkedIn. People who applied, so that means LinkedIn will get green color. And the second highest to me is the walk-ins. I hope you are able to track. And the third highest here is 8.74. If I have to give a second chance by looking at these two quantitative measures, I will just look at these three things. I will say LinkedIn, employer referral, and walk-ins. You repeat them. You don't invest money on the consultants on the company website, because these two are giving me the highest number, so the churn is highest. Correct. So now I look at the third parameter, which is the cost. Now I think this is the most important thing which companies look at. So if you look at the cost thing, the lowest is the best. So walk-in is the lowest. So I have to give walk-in a dark green. And the second lowest is employee referral again, which is a good thing. And the third lowest is LinkedIn. So if I have to select three sources for the next year, I will not go to any of the consultants. I will rather invest my efforts in LinkedIn, employee referral, and walk-in, because they are least in cost and they give me maximum quantity. Correct. Fourth thing that I will look at is percentage of candidates who have interviewed and who applied. This is again an important thing, but here I get a different number. 100% for consultant G. This is a strange thing, but this shows a different kind of challenge. Similarly, I have the second highest is consultant D, and then probably the consultant F. Correct. I will explain you what is the meaning of all these things. But if I look at the time, the minimum time that has been taken is 2 days or 3 days. What I do is I will highlight everything which is giving me churn in 2 days. So in 2 days, but unfortunately there is no result for consultant C and D. So I may not like to highlight them. So let me look at what is giving me churn. 5 days Facebook and 3 days LinkedIn. So again LinkedIn tops and Facebook is the second. And the third is the probably walk-in, because it is giving me highest number of candidates and 15 days. Correct. But now employer referral is out. Good thing or not so good thing, because it is taking a lot of time. You may need to send a lot of reminders to your employees. You may have to announce some notices and other emails. But now if I look at, all these indicators are either quantitative or cost or time. So all of them can be the efficiency metric, but not the effectiveness metric. In order to find the effectiveness, I need to look at maybe couple more measures which are available to me. Now, if I have to look at the effectiveness metric, I have some data which is available to me which says resigned within 9 months. So, the higher the worse, the lower the better. So, anything which is giving me zero is good for me. So, zero people resigned from company website, which is the number one, because company is giving, website is giving 5 candidates and nobody is has resigned so far in the 9 months. Similarly, 9 candidates were hired, three resigned, three hired, all three resigned. So this becomes the biggest problem for me, because I have invested time and money. and all the candidates who were selected. And similarly, walk-in is the second bigger problem for me. I'm highlighting that in red because I have spent time and money, and out of 16 people who were hired, 15 left. That's a worrisome thing for me. But it is representing the quality. Because I have no other indicator. I don't have performance data because 1 year has not been completed so far. So I have to rely largely upon this feedback or this information. Similarly, I have another one last column which says feedback about the process. It has a rating from 1 to 5. Correct. So from 1 to 5 rating, 1 means poor, 5 means very good. So if I look at 5, this is very good. Good feedback about the recruitment is maybe the human reaction. And then there is some 4. I will again highlight it. And then there are a couple more 4. Correct. But in the column, I have to highlight some greens also. Yet I'm more interested in green. So LinkedIn, nobody resigned. Again, it's a green. So to sum up, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to gauge the data from 5 different dimensions. I'm trying to consider the quantity and the quality, the time, the cost, and the human reaction. Now, if I have to consolidate and make a final decision, I will personally go for LinkedIn because it is green in 1, 2, 3, and 4. So out of 6 indicators or 7 indicators, it is giving me 4 greens and 2 greens in qualitative. So in both the things, 5 people hired, nobody resigned, and the rating on the entire process was excellent. Similarly, the conversion from applied to database 66%. That means 60 out of 60, 40 people applied, out of 40, 12. So the entire effort that goes in screening the candidate is very less. And the candidate who have joined, nobody has resigned. And the cost is also second or the third lowest. So I have to invest more in the LinkedIn because it is giving me both the dimensions. Similarly, I may look for these companies or these consulting companies, maybe consultant G and consultant D and consultant F. Why? Because they have given me some good candidate which had potential. Because if you look at column number D, all 3 out of 3 have been shortlisted. All 3 or 3 out of 5 and 2 out of 5 have been shortlisted. So now this is a good indication for me. Maybe next year I may give them a chance. But consultant B, it is looking a bigger pain. Out of 9 hired, sorry, consultant B out of 3 hired, all 3 resigned. So I may not like to give this consultant a chance. So for next year, my number 1 recommendation would be LinkedIn. Number 2 recommendation possibly is the employee referral. Walk-ins are out because there is a problem towards the end. Within 9 months, most of them resign. Similarly, I may give a chance to consultant A and my own website. My own website should be the third preference. And then out of the consultants, I may look for consultant A and then possibly consultant G. Correct. These are the 5 things that I should look for, and this is my answer. Correct. Theoretically, I have the answer which is like my efficiency metrics are cost per hire, time to hire, and the quantity of hire. My effectiveness metrics are quality of employees, which means the people who are designing. So less, sorry, let me not write anything because we are running short of time. And the last is human reaction, which is the feedback about the entire process. But in order to sum up this entire video, I would like to say one line, that is hiring effectively is often more important than hiring efficiently. Because efficiency talks largely about the short-term measures, short-term metrics. Effectiveness will talk about a long-term commitment, a long-term loyalty, and the long-term return on investment. With this, thank you so much. Feel free to get in touch. See you in the next video.